Pak-Afghan war presently it's just entering in a very critical stage. As you know that in recent past, in October, there were first strikes as the certain attacks were carried out by the Afghani terrorists on border posts of Pakistan, which was repulsed very strongly and heavy damage was incurred on Afghanistan. Gradually, it developed to a serious nature. Now, the situation is that uh, Afghan regime has involved itself in a big fighting situation, and they have planned yesterday that they tried to attack Pakistani posts in certain areas. As a result, it was repulsed very strongly, and very strong answer was given to Afghan regime, destroying their most of the border posts and destroying their spirit, destroying their resources. It was a kind of a lesson for Afghan government. Now let me clarify that what are the misconception and myths of the Afghan government. America stayed in Afghanistan for 20 years and entered in Afghanistan with certain motives and reasons. And during these 20 years, America would complete their missions gradually because the situation was critical, the area was critical, and Afghanistan was divided in so many groups. So I must say that it was quite difficult for America to just fulfill the requirements for which America entered in Afghanistan. It could prolong little. It could have been done earlier, but due to neighboring situations and political situations and internal situation of Afghanistan and international pressure, U.S. has to stay for a longer period. Once U.S. Completed its all missions, gradually certain areas were left grey because of the reason that uh, Afghanistan is a country where the groups are operating. So they just analyzed that they once wipe out Taliban's and establish a proper regime in Afghanistan, then it's okay. But gradually, Taliban's are growing again in borders area. They hide themselves in caves and in mountains, and they just raid and ambush the forces. In this period, US could arrange very conveniently a proper government, a proper institutional running, and a proper system which a country needs, and for the purpose which the US entered in Afghanistan. But ultimately, since it was a heavy budgetary constraint and there were certain objections from the residents and the political sections of the US, so gradually US had to pull back. And it was not that the Afghanis were so powerful that US could not defeat. US tried the maximum what US could do, and ultimately, due to some technical reasons and budgetary constraints and the world opinion about the finishing of the war, compelled US to retreat and come back to US. And prolonged stay of the forces is again a big stake and big disturbance and trouble for any country. So ultimately, US decided to come back. Again, I must repeat that it was not the defeat of the US forces, it were These were the logical reason that US were supposed to come back. Then, after coming back to US, the Afghan regimes they created a myth and just misconception amongst the world that Afghans are so powerful, they are so strong, they are so determined that even the world's number one superpower could not subdue them, and ultimately they had to run back. Whereas this was not the reason. Afghan Taliban, they are sort of a very nominal kind of a force which even a small country taken very conveniently to them what to talk of US. So this myth gave them overconfidence and ultimately they decided that now they can do anything whatever they want. This was their misconception as they don't have a strong economy, they don't have strong force, they don't have air power, they don't have a proper military, they don't have proper institutions in the country. They're running the country with the iron hand. There is no other logic for controlling the country with them. So this way, since last 10 years or so, they were giving the training camps, the training to the terrorists, the Tehreek-e-Taliban in Pakistan. They were just facilitators to them, and they were giving them hideouts. They were giving them resources so that they can harm Pakistan. Initially, Afghan government, Afghani Talibans, they were not directly involved. They had less interest as far as the destruction of Pakistan was concerned, or the terrorist activities which were carried out in Pakistan. But gradually, now since last 2 to 3 years, Afghan regime is also supporting them, giving them hideouts, giving them resources. This was why. This is because that India now have moved in Afghanistan and supporting them financially, morally, and gaining their ulterior motives. What their motives are that they should support the terrorist organizations working against Pakistan so that they can damage Pakistan. So now India is friend to Afghanistan, Israel is friend to Afghanistan. So being a overconfident country, they think that Pakistan is a small country in front of them as they have fought a big war against US. This was their misconception. In recent months, the escalation is at its peak and both the countries are just in front of each other and now openly uh, in month of October or so the Taliban's tried to attack the posts border posts of Pakistan and they were repulsed and a strong message was given to Afghan regime for tackling the situation. In this regard, 2 3 accords were arranged in Qatar, in Saudi, in Turkey, like that, where Afghan government committed to refrain from such type of activity and would take proper measures to eliminate all those elements working on Afghan land against Pakistan. But with the passage of time, they proved that they are not interested to eliminate such elements. Rather, they are the supporting strongly to these people. So this resulted in recent very strong warlike condition, which is indication last night. Afghani tried to attack Pakistani border posts with small arms, with kind of anti-aircraft gun, with kind of artillery and certain other weapons, which was not acceptable by Pakistan. And Pakistan can never consider a small terrorist activity. So Pakistan planned a proper repulsive attack on the land of Afghanistan, and they gave them a lesson, destroyed their posts, destroyed their weapons and other resources which they were using in war. So now both the countries are totally in front of each other. And at this critical moment, two countries they have decided to support Afghanistan. Number one, India. Number two, Israel. So they intend now. You can just watch a video where there is a strong meeting between Indian Prime Minister and Israeli Prime Minister. And Indian Prime Minister is taken to the Parliament of Israel. There, both the leaders, Israeli and Indian, they commit very heavy spending in Afghanistan. This heavy spending ultimately means not for only the development of Afghanistan, but providing resources to terrorist organizations working against Pakistan. So this war will little prolong, but ultimately a big defeat will be faced by Afghani, and they will just finally come to a strong accord. They have no option other than they had to go for a strong accord, and they have to prove practically that they would not allow any elements on their land working and organizing terrorist activities in Afghanistan, in Pakistan. So there is no option. But presently, situations will escalate more, and ultimately, at later stage, in there is no second opinion that Afghan government has to surrender in front of Pakistan, as they understand that they are too small to fight against Pakistan. So we hope and hope so that the situations get better, and ultimately there is no prolonged war between these two countries. If it prolongs, ultimately it will be having effects on neighboring countries as well, and economy issues in the region, and there will be certain other issues rising in the region which we can't foresee at this moment. So we hope for the best and wish and pray for the easy and safe solution between these two countries. Thank you.